The sun of Zenthor Prime glimmered over the floating spires of the capital city, casting long golden streaks across the glassy towers. Ships hummed through the sky in graceful arcs, their engines leaving faint trails of light. From the largest palace, carved from iridescent crystal and metal, Princess Lysera watched the city below with a mixture of pride and unease. Today was unlike any other day in her life. A royal tradition older than the first records of her people was about to take effect. The heir to the throne must marry a human. It was a decree meant to unite the Zenthori with the diverse civilizations of the Milky Way. Some in her council whispered that it was a dangerous tradition, that humans were unpredictable, even reckless. But Lysera knew it was her duty. She adjusted the flowing silver robes that marked her status and walked through the corridors of the palace. The walls shimmered with embedded light, displaying images of her ancestors and the great deeds of Zenthori history. Statues of past rulers lined the halls, their crystal eyes seeming to follow her as she passed. The responsibility she carried felt heavier today than ever before. Princess Lysera, a soft, respectful voice called. It was her chief advisor, Kelmer, a tall figure in ceremonial robes. The council awaits your announcement. They are prepared for your declaration. Lysera took a deep breath and nodded. I will meet them. But Kelmer, do you think they will accept my choice? The advisor gave a small, almost imperceptible smile. They may question it, Your Highness, but they respect tradition. Your decision, once made, will be final. The princess allowed herself a brief moment of calm. She had thought of this day many times. She had read about humans, their courage, their creativity, and their surprising resilience. Some of her readings had been comforting. Others had made her wary. Humans were unlike any other species the Zenthori had encountered. Lysera wondered how it would feel to stand beside one, not as a ruler to a subject, but as a partner. The doors to the Grand Council chamber opened, and Lysera walked inside. The room was vast, filled with Zenthori nobles, advisors, and senators. Their skin shimmered in shades of pale gold and silver, their eyes reflecting centuries of wisdom. They all turned to watch her, some with curiosity, others with quiet apprehension. Princess Lysera, Kelmer announced. The council is ready for your words. Lysera stepped forward and raised her voice, clear and strong. Esteemed members of the council, today I honor the ancient tradition of our people. As heir to the throne, I must select a human to become my fiancé. This choice is not merely personal, it is a bridge between our civilizations. A human will join our people, bringing their strength, courage, and ingenuity to our future. The chamber was silent for a moment. Then, murmurs spread like ripples across water. Some voices were filled with awe, others, skepticism. Your Highness, one senator spoke. Humans are known for their unpredictability. How can we ensure that this union will strengthen Zenthori society instead of endangering it? Lysera met the question with calm eyes. That is why this choice must be made carefully. Only one human who demonstrates courage, wisdom, and adaptability will be worthy. I will oversee this selection personally to ensure our future is secure. Another voice, younger and more uncertain, added, But Princess, humans are so different from us. Their ways, their customs. How can we trust them? Lysera's gaze softened. It is true that humans are different, but difference is not weakness. It is opportunity. We have grown by embracing diversity. This tradition is a chance for us to learn, to grow, and to strengthen the bonds of the galaxy. The council remained quiet, but Lysera sensed that her words had made an impact. Some nodded slowly, others still unsure, yet no one dared challenge the ancient decree. As the council meeting ended, Lysera retreated to her private chambers. She needed a moment away from the weight of expectation. Sitting by the crystal window, she looked out over the city once more. Ships glided like silver fish through the sky, carrying people from distant worlds. Among them, somewhere, would be the human who could become her partner. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Captain Aaron Wells was finishing a routine mission near the asteroid belt of a distant system. He was known among his peers for his daring and quick thinking, often completing missions that others deemed impossible. But today, He was simply preparing for a rare moment of rest aboard his ship, the Starblade. The communication console beeped unexpectedly, displaying an unfamiliar symbol. Curious, Aaron activated it. The holographic screen projected a formal message, written in both Galactic Standard and Earth English. Captain Aaron Wells, you have been nominated as a candidate for the human fiancé of Princess Lysera of Zenther Prime. Your presence is requested for formal evaluation. Immediate departure to Zenther Prime is required. Acceptance is not optional. Aaron blinked in surprise. Nominated? Human fiancé of an alien princess? It sounded like something out of a dream or a very strange science fiction story. All right, he muttered to himself. Let's see how weird this galaxy can get today. Within hours, Aaron's ship jumped through the interstellar portal, navigating through the Zenthri warp network. The travel itself was unlike any human technology he had experienced. The portal shimmered with colors he couldn't name, bending light and space around him. When he emerged, the crystal towers of Zenther Prime glittered below him, bathed in the glow of the twin suns, landing in the central plaza. He was met by a team of Zenthri attendants, their movements precise and elegant. They escorted him through the floating corridors of the city, up to the palace itself. The palace doors opened to reveal a hall larger than any Aaron had seen, filled with light that seemed to come from the walls themselves, and there she was, Princess Lysera. She stood on a raised platform, her robes flowing like liquid silver. Her eyes focused on him with both curiosity and authority. Aaron stepped forward, trying to appear confident, though he felt like a child in a hall of gods. Captain Aaron Wells reporting as requested, he said, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. Lysera inclined her head slightly. Captain Wells, you are aware of the tradition and the purpose of your presence here? I think I am, Aaron said, choosing his words carefully. Though I must admit, it's not every day a human gets called to meet an alien princess for a possible marriage arrangement. A small smile touched Lysera's lips. Then you understand that your skills, your courage, and your character will be tested. Not only for yourself, but for the future of our civilizations. Aaron nodded, feeling a spark of excitement. He had faced dangers in deep space before, but this was different. He was not just representing himself. He was representing humanity, and perhaps the hope for an alliance that could change the course of the galaxy. For Lysera, watching him respond with both humor and respect, a thought began to form. Perhaps humans were not as reckless as some in her council believed. Perhaps, in this unexpected human, she might find someone who could stand beside her, not only as a fiancé but as a partner. And so, the stage was set. Across the glittering spires and floating platforms of Zenther Prime, a story of duty, courage, and discovery was about to begin. The human had arrived, the princess had made her decree, and the galaxy waited to see what would come next. Little did either of them know. The challenges ahead would test not just their abilities, but their hearts, their trust, and the potential for humanity to shine among the stars. Aaron Wells had never seen a palace like the one on Zenther Prime. Its walls shimmered with a soft, living light that shifted with every step. The air smelled faintly of exotic flowers, even though the palace floated above a city that stretched for miles. Everything about this place was a challenge to his senses, and now he had to prove himself worthy of a princess. Lysera led him through the palace halls. Her silver robes brushed the floor, leaving trails of faint light in their wake. The princess did not speak much, but Aaron felt her eyes on him constantly, observing his every movement, every reaction. He knew that, somehow, she was testing him already. You will not be here for comfort, Lysera finally said as they entered a large training hall. The room was enormous, with floating platforms suspended midair, walls of energy that shifted in color, and holographic projections that seemed almost alive. The Council has set several challenges to judge your worth. They are not only tests of strength or intellect, but of your character. You must prove that a human can stand among the Zenthri as an equal, not a subject. Aaron swallowed, feeling a mixture of excitement and nerves. All right, he said. I like a challenge. Lysera raised a slender eyebrow, a subtle sign of surprise at his confidence. We shall see, she said, stepping aside. The first test was one of agility. Holographic obstacles appeared in midair, moving quickly and unpredictably. Aaron had to navigate through them without touching a single one. Humans were known for their quick reflexes, but Zen-3 technology was precise and unlike anything he had encountered. He ran, jumped, and dodged, feeling his heart race. The projection shifted faster and faster, but his instincts, sharpened from years of piloting in asteroid fields, guided him. When he finally crossed the finish line, Lysera's eyes narrowed. Not in criticism, but in recognition. "You adapt quickly," she said, her voice even. But adaptability alone does not make a partner for a princess. Next was a test of intellect. A holographic puzzle unfolded in the center of the room. A glowing sphere of shifting shapes and symbols. It required problem-solving under time pressure, a challenge meant to test reasoning, patience, and creativity. Aaron studied the sphere carefully. Humans were often praised for thinking outside the box, and this was the perfect opportunity. He noticed patterns in the way the symbols rotated, subtle rhythms that suggested a solution. Slowly, carefully, he manipulated the sphere, matching shapes and aligning symbols until it glowed steadily. Lysera nodded, clearly impressed. "You think with both logic and imagination. That is rare among humans," she admitted. "But what of courage?" The final test was not in the hall, but in the floating gardens outside the palace. The gardens were suspended high above the city, paths twisting through air currents. A simulated threat of mechanical predator designed to test bravery would approach, and Aaron had to defend a small Zen-3 childlike creature projected in holographic form. Aaron's instincts kicked in. He maneuvered quickly, analyzing the predator's movements. Using both strategy and daring, he managed to protect the creature without harming the simulation. Showing courage, compassion, and respect for life, Lysera watched silently, her expression unreadable. When the test concluded, she finally spoke. "You are not like the humans described in our archives," she said. "You possess traits we hoped for, but seldom see, perhaps. You may be worthy of what is required." Aaron felt a thrill of relief, but also knew the real challenges were still ahead. These were only the first steps in proving himself not just to Lysera, but to the Council and the galaxy. Over the following days, Lysera and Aaron spent more time together. She taught him about Zen-3 culture, their philosophies, and the history of the royal line. Aaron shared stories of Earth, of humans' resilience and creativity, and the hardships and triumphs of his own people. Slowly, a bond began to form. They disagreed often. Aaron found Zen-3 etiquette too formal. Lysera found human casualness disorganized, but they learned from each other. Respect grew into admiration, and admiration hinted at something deeper. Yet not everyone in the court was pleased. Some advisors whispered behind Lysera's back, questioning whether a human could ever truly understand Zen-3 responsibilities. Tension simmered beneath the polished floors and floating gardens, threatening to turn the selection process into political intrigue. And so, Part 2 ends with Aaron proving himself, gaining Lysera's cautious trust, and preparing for trials far greater than physical tests, a trial of heart, diplomacy, and courage that would determine the future of two civilizations. Part 3, Trials of Trust. Weeks passed, and Aaron had settled into life on Zen-3 Prime, but the challenges were far from over. Lysera had arranged for the next stage of evaluation, a real mission beyond the palace walls. An urgent message came from a nearby colony on the planet's outskirts. A massive asteroid had broken from the belt and was on a collision course. The colony needed immediate assistance, and the princess insisted that Aaron accompany her. Aaron felt a thrill. He had faced dangers before, but this was different. He would work alongside royalty, not just as a hired pilot. They arrived at the colony aboard Lysera's sleek starship. The asteroid loomed, massive and threatening, casting shadows over the settlement. Zen-3 technology alone could divert it, but Lysera wanted Aaron to participate fully, to see how humans and Zen-3 could cooperate. The mission tested everything they had learned. Aaron's quick thinking and ingenuity complemented Lysera's strategic precision. He improvised solutions when the Zen-3 equipment required adaptation, showing creativity under pressure. Together, They coordinated the colony's evacuation while simultaneously attempting to divert the asteroid's trajectory. During the tense hours, trust began to grow. Lysera relied on Erin's instincts, and Erin respected her leadership. They discovered strengths in one another that went beyond tests in the palace, yet the council's skeptics were not silent. Rumors of human recklessness reached the capital. Lysera faced pressure to end the experiment early, but she refused. Her experiences with Erin had shown her the value of human courage and ingenuity. After the asteroid was successfully diverted, Erin and Lysera returned to the palace. Exhausted but triumphant, they found themselves reflecting on the mission. "You acted decisively," Lysera said softly, even when everything seemed lost. "That is rare among any species," Erin smiled, brushing a strand of hair from his eyes. "You were pretty impressive yourself, Princess. I didn't expect Zenthri technology to be this complicated, but you made it look easy." They laughed lightly, and in that moment, the tension of duty and politics melted. For the first time, they were not princess and candidate, but two individuals who had shared a life-and-death experience together. The council, however, remained divided. Some praised the humans' courage. Others warned that a single act could not prove worthiness for a royal alliance. Lysera knew that further challenges awaited, but she felt a growing certainty humans had a role to play in her world, perhaps more than anyone had imagined. As Part 3 closes, Erin and Lysera prepare for trials that will test not only courage and intellect, but also loyalty, understanding, and the ability to unite to very different civilizations. They had passed physical and mental tests, but the greatest challenges, the test of heart and diplomacy, were still ahead. The morning on Zenthor Prime dawned with a brilliance unlike any Erin had ever seen. Twin suns rose together, casting long beams of golden light over the floating spires of the capital. From the palace balcony, Princess Lysera gazed across her city, her mind weighed with thoughts of duty, trust, and the choice she had yet to make. Today, the council would gather to hear her final decision. The human candidate Aaron Wells stood beside her, quietly observing the city. His hands clasped behind his back, Lysera turned to him. "Are you ready?" she asked. Aaron smiled faintly. "As ready as I'll ever be. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect when I first came here. But this feels right." Lysera studied him for a long moment. He had proven courage, intelligence, and compassion, qualities that transcended species. And yet, choosing a human as her fiancé was not just a personal decision. It was a political statement. Every faction in the council would watch her. Every citizen of Zenthor Prime would react. And countless worlds across the galaxy would debate whether humanity was worthy of such an honor. "You have faced the trials," she said finally. "You have shown courage when others hesitated. You have thought creatively when logic alone was insufficient. And you have shown respect and empathy to life that is not your own. These are the qualities I hope to see in a human. But the choice must consider more than skill. It must also consider heart, trust, and partnership. Do you understand what is at stake?" Aaron nodded. "I do. And I promise, I'll do my best to honor both you and your people." The palace halls were filled with the hum of anticipation. Nobles, advisors, and senators of Zenthri descent lined the chamber, their eyes fixed on the throne where Princess Lysera would make her declaration. Some were curious, some skeptical, and a few whispered quietly about the audacity of choosing a human at all. Lysera entered the chamber, Aaron following at a respectful distance. Silence fell immediately. Every eye in the room was on the princess, waiting for the moment when she would speak words that could reshape the future of Zenthri-human relations. "My esteemed council," Lysera began, her voice steady and clear. "You have seen the trials that our candidate has faced. You have observed his courage, his intellect, and his compassion. But the question before us is not merely whether he has passed tests, it is whether he embodies the values we hold dear. Zenthri's strength comes not only from tradition, but from wisdom, empathy, and the ability to embrace change. And in this, I have found that the human Captain Aaron Wells excels." A murmur swept through the council. Some were visibly shocked, exchanging glances. Others seemed thoughtful, Curious about the princess's decision, Lysera raised her hand, signaling for silence. Captain Wells has proven himself not only in challenges of skill and strategy, but in trials of trust. When our colony faced destruction, he acted decisively, courageously, and with great ingenuity. He did not rely solely on our technology or on my guidance. He worked as a partner, contributing his own understanding, creativity, and heart. I have witnessed in him a spirit that aligns with the ideals of our people. It is for this reason that I declare him worthy to become my fiancé. The chamber fell silent. For a few moments, no one spoke. Then, slowly, applause began to rise, not loud, but genuine. Some nobles, who had doubted humans, now nodded in quiet respect. Others remained reserved, their expressions thoughtful, but none openly opposed the declaration. Lysera's voice had carried authority and clarity. Her judgment was final. Aaron stepped forward, bowing respectfully to the council and then turning to face Lysera. "Princess Lysera," he said, his voice firm yet gentle, "I'm honored by your trust. I accept this responsibility with all my heart. I will do everything I can to honor your people, your culture, and the bond we now share." Lysera smiled. It was the first true smile she had given today, one of warmth and relief. "Then let this be the beginning, Captain Wells. Together, we will not only honor tradition, but forge a new path, one that brings humans and Zenthri closer, united by trust, respect, and shared purpose." In the days that followed, preparations for a formal engagement ceremony began. The capital buzzed with excitement, visitors from distant planets arriving to witness the unprecedented union. Aaron learned more about Zenthri customs, studied their language and history, and participated in rituals that had been performed for centuries. He approached each tradition with respect, even when it seemed unusual, and his willingness to learn endeared him further to Lysera and her people. On the day of the engagement, the palace gardens gleamed with colors that shifted with the light. Floating lanterns drifted above, and streams of crystal-clear water reflected the twin suns. Nobles, citizens, and dignitaries filled the terraces, awaiting the moment when the princess and her human fiancé would publicly declare their bond. Lysera stood in the center of the main platform, her robe flowing like liquid silver as Aaron approached. He wore ceremonial attire that had been specially made for him, a blend of human style and Zenthri tradition. He felt slightly awkward, but Lysera's reassuring glance steadied him. "Today," Lysera began, addressing the assembled crowd, "we celebrate not just a union between two individuals, but a union of two civilizations. Captain Aaron Wells has shown courage, wisdom, and heart qualities that resonate deeply with the ideals of Zenthri society. Let this engagement mark a new chapter, one where humans and Zenthri work together, side by side, for a future of understanding, respect, and progress." Aaron stepped forward, taking Lysera's hand. "I promise to honor this trust, to learn, to serve, and to grow with Princess Lysera and the Zenthri people. Together, we will face challenges, celebrate triumphs, and build a future that shines brightly across the galaxy." A cheer rose from the crowd, echoing across the floating city and beyond. For the first time, many saw humans not as outsiders or unpredictable strangers, but as partners capable of greatness, courage, and loyalty. Lysera's choice had not only declared a personal bond, but had begun a transformation in perception. Humanity's place among the stars had grown stronger. As the ceremony concluded, Lysera and Aaron stood together on the balcony overlooking the city. The twin suns bathed them in golden light, and ships from distant worlds passed in graceful arcs, carrying messages of goodwill and curiosity. The future was uncertain, as all futures are, but for the first time, it seemed full of possibility. "You have done well, Aaron," Lysera said quietly. "You've done well too," he replied, smiling. "I think we make a pretty good team." Lysera laughed softly, a sound that mingled with the hum of the city. "Perhaps the galaxy will see the truth in that soon enough." And so, the human and the princess, once separated by culture, distance, and expectation, now stood united. Their partnership symbolized more than just a union of hearts. It represented humanity's courage, ingenuity, and capacity to thrive among the stars. Xanthari and humans alike would watch their journey unfold, a testament to the idea that when civilizations work together, extraordinary things can happen. As evening fell over Xanthar Prime, the palace shimmered in the glow of lanterns and starlight. Lysera and Aaron looked out over the city, not just as princess and fiancé, but as partners embarking on a shared adventure that would shape the destiny of two worlds. And in that quiet, hopeful moment, the galaxy seemed a little smaller, a little brighter, and full of endless possibilities. The first weeks after the engagement were unlike anything Aaron had ever experienced. Life on Xanthar Prime was beautiful, full of light, colors, and architecture that seemed almost alive. But beauty, he quickly realized, came with responsibility. Every decision he made was noticed, every action measured against the weight of tradition and expectation. Princess Lysera had been his guide and mentor through it all. Together, they met with dignitaries, explored the capital, and planned initiatives that would strengthen the bond between humans and Xanthari. Yet despite the grandeur, there were whispers, some skeptical of a human standing so close to power, others curious about what new ideas he might bring. One morning, Aaron received a summons from the Royal Council. He felt a surge of nervousness as he walked into the chamber. Lysera at his side, Captain Wells, Kelmer began, his usual calm tone edged with gravity. "You have adapted quickly to Xanthari ways. But there is a matter that requires your insight. Reports from the frontier indicate a potential threat. An uncharted fleet has entered the outer system. We do not yet know its intent." Aaron leaned forward. "Do we know who they are?" "Not yet," Kelmer replied. "But your experience with human tactics and improvisation may provide perspectives. The Council requires you will accompany Princess Lysera to assess the situation directly." Lysera's hand brushed lightly against his arm. "We face this together," she said, her voice firm but warm. "Your judgment is as important as mine." Aaron nodded, feeling a sense of purpose. He was no longer just a visitor or candidate. He was a partner in safeguarding a civilization, proving that humanity could contribute meaningfully to the galaxy. The journey to the frontier was swift aboard Lysera's sleek starship. As they traveled through space, Aaron marveled at the technology around him. Energy fields shimmered in ways he could barely understand, and star maps displayed not only positions, but predictive movement patterns of ships across the galaxy. When they arrived, the uncharted fleet loomed like a dark storm in the void. Ships of strange design moved in formation, their purpose unclear. Lysera activated communication channels, sending formal greetings and requesting identification. There was no immediate reply. Aaron studied the fleet. "These ships are advanced," he said, "but they move cautiously, almost hesitant. Whoever they are, they're testing boundaries, not launching an attack." Lysera nodded, impressed by his observation. "You read them well," she said. "Let's proceed carefully. Diplomacy first, defense ready." Over the next hours, Aaron assisted Lysera in establishing communications. He suggested tactics humans had used for centuries: subtle signaling, mirrored movements to indicate peaceful intent, and offering resources that could build trust. Slowly, a response came. The fleet belonged to the Valen Confederation, a coalition of traders and explorers wary of Xanthari expansion. Miscommunication and misunderstanding had brought them to the frontier. Thanks to Aaron's input and Lysera's leadership, the situation was resolved peacefully. The Valen ships withdrew slightly, agreeing to meet representatives from Xanthar Prime to discuss trade and shared exploration. Back aboard the starship, Lysera looked at Aaron with quiet admiration. "Your perspective prevented conflict," she said. "Had we relied solely on tradition, this could have escalated." Aaron smiled, though modestly. "Humans have a habit of improvising when rules don't cover everything," he admitted. "I think that's why you chose me, isn't it?" Lysera's gaze softened. "It is one reason. Another is your courage, not just in facing danger, but in standing firm when others doubt you. And a third, perhaps, is your humanity, your ability to care, to see the bigger picture, even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable." The bond between them deepened with every challenge. They trained together, explored the galaxy, and began developing new ideas for collaboration between humans and Zenthri. Aaron introduced concepts from Earth's history, how civilizations had survived hardships. By working together, learning from differences, and valuing creativity alongside discipline. Lysera shared Zenthri philosophies, emphasizing balance, harmony, and foresight. One evening, as twin suns set in a cascade of colors, they stood on the balcony of the palace, overlooking the city. The lights of the floating towers reflected like stars upon the water channels below. You know, Aaron said quietly, I never imagined that a human like me would end up here, standing beside a princess, helping shape a civilization. It's a lot, Lysera laughed softly. I imagined something similar. But you have proven that humans can shine in ways others do not expect. I see now that courage and wisdom are not limited by species. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by a communication alert. Kelmore's voice came through the channel, urgent but controlled. Princess Lysera, Captain Wells, there is a disturbance on the northern frontier. A series of unexpected energy fluctuations have been detected. We require immediate investigation. Aaron's eyes lit with determination. Then let's go. Looks like the galaxy isn't done testing us yet. They prepared the starship and departed quickly. As they traveled, Lysera glanced at Aaron. No matter what comes, we face it together, she said. Aaron nodded. Together, he agreed. The northern frontier was a stark contrast to the glowing capital. Craggy asteroids drifted through space, and strange energy fields shimmered unpredictably. As they approached, Aaron studied the fluctuations. These are not natural phenomena, he said. They seem artificial. Someone is experimenting or hiding something. Lysera activated defensive systems, ready for confrontation but hoping for diplomacy. Let's find out who or what we are dealing with, she said. The source of the energy was a hidden station, long abandoned by its creators. Its systems had activated spontaneously, sending signals that disturbed nearby navigational paths. Aaron guided the ship carefully, using both human intuition and Zenthri data to stabilize the approach. Together, they entered the station's core, discovering ancient technology that had lain dormant for centuries. With careful analysis, Aaron managed to reroute the energy, preventing a potential disaster. Lysera observed, clearly impressed. You have a rare talent for understanding things quickly, she said, and for making decisions under pressure that preserve life and integrity. Aaron chuckled softly. I guess that's what humans are good at, adapting. By the time they returned to Zenthri Prime, word of their success had already reached the council. The human candidate was no longer just a visitor or an experiment. He was a partner, a protector, and a symbol of humanity's potential. As days passed, the city began to change. Humans were invited to join diplomatic councils, to share innovations, and to participate in education programs alongside Zenthri students. Cultural exchanges flourished. Humans learned Zenthri arts, sciences, and philosophies, while Zenthri learned to appreciate human resilience, creativity, and unpredictability. Lysera and Aaron worked tirelessly, their partnership inspiring others. Slowly, the skepticism of some council members faded, replaced by admiration and cautious optimism. The princess and her human fiancé had not only proven that humans could be worthy partners, but also that cooperation between species could strengthen entire civilizations. One evening, as they watched the twin suns sink below the horizon, Lysera turned to Aaron. Do you realize what we have started? She asked. Aaron smiled. A new chapter, not just for us, but for humans and Zenthri alike. Lysera nodded. And I believe it is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, full of challenges and opportunities. Together, we will face them all. Aaron took her hand gently. Then let's make the most of it. Not just for duty or tradition, but because we can make a difference. Because we care. Because we can. And in that moment, the promise of the future was clear. Humanity had earned a place among the stars, not through conquest, but through courage, creativity, and heart. And Princess Lysera and Captain Aaron Wells, once bound by tradition, now united by choice, would lead the way, together, into the unknown wonders of the galaxy. The stars above Zenther Prime twinkled like diamonds scattered across a velvet sky, and beneath them, a human and an alien princess stood side by side, ready to face whatever challenges awaited, confident that together, they could shine brighter than any star. The weeks after the Northern Frontier mission were filled with excitement and preparation. Aaron had become a familiar presence not just in the palace, but across the capital of Zenther Prime. Citizens watched as the human candidate moved confidently among the Zenthari, learning their customs, speaking their language with increasing fluency, and offering practical ideas to improve city systems, training programs, and diplomatic strategies. Princess Lysera observed him with pride. He had grown in confidence, moving from a tentative outsider to a partner whose judgment was trusted and respected. Yet, their adventures had only begun. The galaxy was vast, and the Council had tasked them with a mission more complex than any they had faced, establishing a lasting alliance between Zenthari and several nearby civilizations, including human colonies scattered across the stars. Early one morning, Lysera and Aaron gathered in the palace council room. Holographic maps displayed clusters of star systems, trade routes, and the locations of potential allied civilizations. The council was present, though their expressions remained cautious. Princess, Kelmer began. The task ahead is unprecedented. These civilizations have never formally coordinated with Zenther Prime, and while Captain Wells has demonstrated skill and judgment, the politics of interstellar diplomacy are delicate. Success is not guaranteed. Aaron studied the maps, noting patterns in trade, resources, and cultural links. The key will be understanding their priorities and showing them the benefits of working together. He said, "Humans have a history of building alliances across differences, and I think we can apply the same principles here." Lysera smiled. "That is why I chose you. We will proceed carefully, but boldly, together." Their first stop was the colony of Scifi, a small human settlement on the edge of explored space. The colony had faced years of hardship due to limited resources and sporadic attacks by space pirates. When Lysera and Aaron arrived, they were greeted with both awe and skepticism. A Zenthari princess visiting a human colony was unprecedented, and with her human fiancé. The event was extraordinary. Aaron immediately engaged with the colonists, helping organize resource distribution, offering advice on defensive systems, and showing that humans and Zenthari could collaborate effectively. Lysera observed, noting how the colonists responded to his courage and practical ideas. Where words of diplomacy might falter, actions created trust. One evening, as the twin sons of Scifi said, a meeting was held between Lysera, Aaron, and the colony leaders. "You have shown great respect for our people," said Governor Trallis, the colony head, "and your collaboration with Zenthari technology has improved our defenses dramatically. But alliances are more than protection. They require understanding, mutual respect, and shared vision. Will you commit to that?" Aaron nodded, looking at Lysera. "We do, not just as leaders, but as partners committed to building a future where humans and Zenthari and any willing civilizations can work together, share knowledge, and protect one another." Lysera added, "We will listen, adapt, and learn from each of you. Together, we can achieve far more than alone." And Captain Wells will demonstrate that humanity has value beyond expectation, that courage, ingenuity, and heart are qualities we must honor. The colony leaders exchanged glances, then nodded. Trust had begun to form, not through ceremony, but through demonstrated action and shared responsibility. From Scifi, Lysera and Aaron traveled to other systems trading hubs, resource-rich worlds, and even territories previously neutral or wary of Zenthari influence. Each mission brought challenges, cultural misunderstandings, logistical hurdles, and the occasional sabotage from factions opposed to the alliance. Yet in every case, Aaron's ingenuity and Lysera's leadership proved decisive. They solved crises, calmed fears, and inspired confidence. One notable event occurred on the planet Vedra, where a disagreement between two neighboring civilizations threatened war. The conflict revolved around resource claims and centuries-old grudges. Lysera and Aaron were called to mediate, arriving on Vedra. They were met by representatives whose expressions were rigid, distrustful, and cautious. Lysera began discussions formally, presenting the benefits of alliance and cooperation. But the tension remained, and the negotiations stalled. Aaron stepped forward. "I've seen conflicts like this on human colonies," he said. "The key is understanding not just what each side wants, but why. Let's talk openly about needs, fears, and hopes, not just resources." Over the next hours, Aaron guided conversations, encouraged compromise, and suggested solutions that combined Zenthri efficiency with human creativity. Slowly, the two sides began to listen to each other. By the evening, agreements were signed, not dictated by power, but built on mutual understanding. Lysera watched in admiration. "You see solutions where others see only obstacles," she said later. As they returned to their starship, Aaron shrugged modestly. "Humans are stubborn about finding a way forward. Sometimes all you need is a different perspective and someone willing to listen." As their diplomatic tour continued, the bond between Lysera and Aaron strengthened. They learned to rely on each other completely. Lysera's foresight and Zenthri technology combined with Aaron's adaptability and human ingenuity created results neither could achieve alone. Yet challenges remained. Not all civilizations were eager to join the alliance. Some feared human influence. Others doubted Zenthri intentions. Rumors spread across star systems, and political maneuvering threatened to undermine their progress. One evening, aboard their ship, Aaron looked at Lysera. "Do you ever wonder if we can really pull this off? There's so many worlds, so many people, and so much history behind their mistrust." Lysera placed her hand on his. "I believe we can. Not because we are perfect, but because we are willing to try, to adapt, and to lead with courage and understanding. Humanity has already shown it has value beyond expectation. And you, Aaron, have shown that together, humans and Zenthri can achieve more than either could alone." Aaron smiled, feeling a deep sense of purpose. "Then let's keep moving forward. One planet, one civilization at a time." Their mission culminated in the convening of the First Interstellar Council. Held in a massive floating arena above Zenther Prime, representatives from human colonies, Zenthri sectors, and allied civilizations gathered to formalize their cooperation. As Princess Lysera and Aaron stood at the central dais, they addressed the assembly. Lysera's voice carried across the hall, clear and commanding. "Today, we witness the dawn of a new era. Humans and Zenthri have proven that cooperation is possible, that courage and wisdom are not limited by species, and that shared purpose can unite diverse civilizations. Let this council be a symbol of our commitment to understanding, trust, and collective growth. And let Captain Aaron Wells serve as a reminder of humanity's potential to shine among the stars." Aaron stepped forward, humbly addressing the council. "I am honored to be here not as a symbol, but as a participant in a partnership built on respect, creativity, and shared responsibility. Humans and Zenthri and all willing civilizations can achieve extraordinary things when we work together. Today, we begin a future defined not by fear or suspicion, but by hope, courage, and cooperation." The council erupted in applause. Representatives who had once doubted humans now looked at them with admiration. Lysera and Aaron had not only strengthened alliances, but had reshaped perceptions, showing that humans could stand as equals among the stars. As the ceremony concluded, Lysera turned to Aaron. "We have accomplished much, but there is still more to do," she said. Aaron smiled. "Then we keep going, together." From the balcony above the arena, the twin suns of Zenther Prime set, casting their golden glow across the city. Ships from countless civilizations moved in synchronized arcs through the sky, a living symbol of the alliances forged through courage, understanding, and trust for Lysera and Aaron. The journey was far from over. New challenges, discoveries, and adventures awaited. Yet they faced the future confidently, side by side, proving that when humanity rises to meet the stars, it does so not alone, but with heart, courage, and the ability to unite civilizations in ways that no one could imagine. And so, the human and the alien princess, bound by choice, partnership, and trust, stood ready to lead the galaxy toward a brighter, shared future one where courage, ingenuity, and empathy could illuminate even the darkest corners of space.